$400,000, $500,000, $600,000, and up. That is what a new construction house costs in most of North America right now. Behind every drywall panel, there are 1,500 to 3,000 feet of electrical wire, terminating at 75 to 100 connection points. Every one is a potential point of failure. Most will hold for decades. A small percentage are already failing right now. When you hear what a 49-cent component is doing to $500,000 of construction, you will understand why almost every master electrician I have ever spoken to refuses to wire their own home the way production builders do. Walk into a model home and you see the same theatrical setup: recessed pot lights, pendants over the island, USB outlets near the bed, a smart switch by the front door, a 200-amp panel sticker like a trophy. The sales representative tells you the house is fully wired for modern living. That phrase is doing more work than you realize. It is not a code term. It is not a UL listing. It is marketing. That means the house passed its rough-in and final electrical inspection. Code minimum means built to pass inspection. Built to pass inspection is a different specification from built to last. The gap between those two specifications is where almost every residential electrical fire in this country actually starts. There are two ways to attach a wire to a standard receptacle. Side wire is done by stripping the wire, bending it into a hook, wrapping it around the brass screw, and tightening it onto the copper. Backstab is done by stripping the wire and pushing it straight into a small hole on the back where a tiny internal spring clamps onto it. Sidewire takes 45 seconds per outlet. Backstab takes 4 seconds. On a 50-outlet house under a fixed bid contract, that difference is half a day of uncompensated labor no production electrician will give away. The problem is that the spring grips the wire across a contact patch the size of a pencil tip. Over years of thermal cycling, the spring loses tension and the wire becomes loose. Electricity does not flow well across a loose connection. It arcs. Arcing generates heat. Heat inside a sealed wall cavity against wood framing finds something to ignite. Residential electrical fire claims range from $25,000 for contained damage to total loss in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. One forgotten spring. The receptacle itself is the bigger problem. The industry produces them in tiers: residential or contractor grade, commercial grade, specification grade, and hospital grade. They all fit the same box, and they all pass code. The difference is inside. Contractor grade uses stamped brass contacts that are thinner than the wall of an aluminum soda can. Spec grade uses thicker phosphor bronze, a reinforced strap, and a heavier internal bus. Big box stores sell 100 packs of contractor grade receptacles at 49 cents a piece. Spec grade equivalents run $3 to $8 each. Builders save $150 across a $500,000 house by installing the cheapest device on the market behind every wall. Every production house in this country does it. Those thin brass contacts heat up under normal household loads. The plug fits looser every year. Heat, then arc, then fire. What is happening at the panel matters too. Each breaker is rated for a finite load. A standard 15-amp breaker delivers 15 amps continuously. The National Electrical Code does not specifically limit how many outlets you attach to it. The trade rule of thumb is 8 to 10 on a general-purpose circuit. Production builders routinely run 12, 14, or 16 outlets. Every additional circuit means more copper, more breakers, more labor at the panel. So the bedrooms, the hallway, the office, and the dining room often share one breaker. A space heater, a vacuum, 2 laptop chargers, and an LED television can make the wire inside the wall run warm. Not warm enough to trip. Warm enough to degrade the insulation year after year. By the time the breaker nuisance trips every Sunday, the wire has been thermally aging for a decade. A whole house rewire runs $8,000 to $20,000. The breaker tripping is not the problem. The breaker tripping is the warning. Every receptacle needs a continuous ground path back to the panel. That path is the difference between a trip breaker and an electrocution. Code requires it. Inspectors check it at rough-in. What inspectors do not see is the trim phase weeks later when receptacles get installed. The fastest way to install a string of receptacles is to bring one ground wire to the first device and let the device itself pass current to every downstream outlet. It works the day the inspector tests it. It works 10 years later, until the moment you unscrew that first outlet to replace it. The downstream chain loses its ground. GFCI testers still show correct wiring upstream of the break. You never know. The federal government wrote an amendment to the National Electrical Code in 1999 and expanded it 3 more times, mandating a $40 arc fault circuit interrupter on virtually every residential branch circuit. AFCI breakers are not a safety upgrade. They are the federal code's quiet admission that builder-grade electrical work is a fire hazard. Production electrical subcontractors do not get paid by the hour. They get paid a fixed bid per house, calculated to the second. The cheapest receptacle, the backstab, the 16-outlet circuit, the daisy-chained ground are not mistakes. They are the load-bearing assumptions of the pricing model. The inspector is in your house about 40 minutes during rough-in. He checks box count, breaker labels, GFCI locations. He does not unscrew a single device. Code minimum is the minimum the law accepts. The maximum that keeps your house standing 30 years from now is a different specification. Number 3, hire a master electrician, not a handyman, not your builder's sub, for a 1-hour walkthrough inside the house before you close. Pull a few receptacles. Photograph the panel. Check connection methods. $150 to $300. The cheapest insurance on the closing table. Number 2, housing from the late 90s to the early 2000s is genuinely undervalued. The aluminum wiring era is behind it. The flood of $2 contractor-grade receptacles had not yet replaced the American-made spec equivalent standard in that window. Number 1, buy whatever house you want, including new construction, and spend one Saturday replacing every receptacle with $3 spec-grade screw terminal devices, under $200 for 50 outlets, the same materials a hospital uses, for less than dinner for 4. One thing you can do tonight, kill the breaker for any room, and pull one outlet. If the wires go into 2 small holes in the back, instead of wrapping around the brass screws on the side, every outlet in that room was backstabbed. Code minimum means legal to sell, not safe to live in. Your builder's incentive is satisfying an inspector who was in your house for 40 minutes. Your incentive is living there 40 years without it burning down at 3 in the morning. Those incentives have never aligned. Next week, we are going inside your bathroom. A specific generation of GFCI receptacles installed in millions of homes built before 2006 fails silently. The reset button still clicks. The light still comes on. The actual ground fault protection stopped working years ago. We are naming the failure mode and showing you the 2-second test every homeowner should run tonight. See you then.